Welcome to the Sahawi Sessions. Stories, voices and well-being from the heart of the valleys and from the van. Well, hello. I'm obviously coming from the van today, as you can see. I'm staying in Mid Wales, so the pod will be about that next time. And I want to apologise to my 2 listeners, all of them, or however many, few I have. This pod has been a little while in the making. I have been out and about in festivals and so on for the last few weeks. It's a festival tart that I am. So it's been a little while in the making. I've also had quite a number of visitors as well. But here I am, ready to go. Does anyone remember Terry Wogan when he was on Radio 2, really showing my age, when his listeners used to write in and say, and give advice to the other listener, as they used to say, as if there were 2 of them? Well, it probably is the case in my case. So on the pod today, we are testing some local coffee from Blackwood, new roastery, which was very good, I have to say. We are looking at doing some stretching with Alpacas and having a quick tour of Man of this Line. And we're also talking about fakery and all things fake. So all of that to come. Shall we start with trying some coffee? Now, I have a cup of tea here, but recently I met up with Urban Bourbon Coffee, and I had a number of coffees to try. And then I asked somebody who really is a bit of an expert in coffee tasting, I would say, and I asked him to taste them and to say what he thought. And he has been absolutely honest about this. He absolutely loved it, and we got through it very quickly, three lots of it, so I shall be ordering more. Let's see what he has to say.
So I've tried 3 different whole beans from Urban Bourbon. They were all very unique, delicious, and each one quite distinct. I definitely have them again. I'm really enjoying the one I'm having now, which is I think number 43 blend. It's very bright, quite light, quite fruity. And in comparison, there was one that was called Cocoa Ridge, which of course is very chocolatey. I found that when you're drinking espresso, I think the chocolate flavor comes out really, really well. There's also a very light sweetness in the background that's really nice. And the final one is Blend 41. I think it's called Blend 41. That was the first one we tried, which was quite citrusy and really enjoyable. All of them have been great.
Would you recommend them?
Absolutely. And I definitely buy from these again if I'm local.
So yeah, I would definitely recommend Urban Bourbon Coffee, and I shall be after more very shortly. Let's talk about fakes. When we talk about fakes, what do you think we're thinking of? Fake things, fake stuff has been around for so long, hasn't it? But in the days of advanced technological advances, I guess, it's a job to know sometimes whether something that we're looking at is AI or whether it's been filtered. Sometimes we don't know. And a lot of scams these days are from fake people, aren't they? So there's a bad side to it that we need to be aware of. Years ago, I think, when it came to scams with fakery, it used to be letters, it used to be cold calling on house phones. But these days, most people are a little bit more social media aware. And so it happens with scams via, dating apps and all kinds of things. And you hear of these people. I've recently listened to a podcast about somebody who was catfished for 10 years by her own cousin, and had no idea that this person didn't exist. And you see these people who are persuaded to part with all their money because they think they're in a relationship. And it's always the same kind of persona these people put out. And yet they are able to scam so many people out of so much money. So I think that's the new sort of scams coming up. But I want to talk about fake in another way. So for example, it all sort of started for me with the wrestling years and years ago in the late 80s. started to look at what it was called WWW then, World Wrestling, I don't know. And you had the likes of Giant Haystacks and Hulk Hogan and so on. And you never quite knew what was real and what was fake, because we assume that wrestling is all set up, it's all choreographed. Maybe some elements are literally thrown in that are real, I don't know. But most of it is choreographed. But in a way, we enjoy that sort of, the fact that somebody is, I don't know, slamming a chair on somebody else and so on. It's all pantomime. You sort of throw that out of the window and think, well, it doesn't matter because I'm enjoying it. A bit like, to me, that's like a soap opera whereby people sometimes see the actors from soap operas, and I feel sorry for the ones that play bad guys, because some people get really annoyed with them when they meet them in real life. Like, they think they're the actual person, and they can tell them off for things, and I just find that really funny, because we get so engrossed in things that we don't realise that it's fake. And then you've got, if you take recently all the things going on with Donald Trump, we don't really know what happened with the shooting of his ear. People were saying it was fake, and if it wasn't, well, it's terrible to think that it was, because what is set up and what isn't these days, we don't know. And he, of course, himself talks about fake news and so on. And then when you look at fake news, how do we know if something's genuine or not? It's really difficult, isn't it? Your algorithms take you, once you start to go down a rabbit hole, they take you on a journey through all of these things. So if you perhaps look up a conspiracy theory, for example, then it'll throw up other ones. And it's very obvious to see how people can be taken in by a certain type of thought process and find it more difficult maybe to think for themselves. So all these people that talk about doing your own research, how do you know that your research is thorough, is real, is not fake? It's difficult, isn't it? It's even hard to know who is qualified to talk on certain subjects, because are their qualifications fake? Or is their whole history fake? Who are we actually speaking to? So when we are on a social media platform or a game, I mean, we know there have been issues with children on things such as Roblox and so on, talking to people who, again, have been catfishing. We have those cases where you've had pedophiles who are trying to get to know young people by catfishing as a young person themselves. Which is obviously on the more serious side of things. And you've got the fakers and the scammers. But then how do you know who you're talking to? If you're on a dating app, for example, what are you seeing there? Is what you're seeing the actual person? Because if you look at people's social media, yes, you have people that go onto their profiles on whichever platform and grizzle about things. You do get people who are being honest and give you an honest diary of themselves and their journeys. But you also get the, what I call the sort of instant Instagrammers, where you'll have somebody that will turn up somewhere, take a perfect picture, look where we are, look at this stunning view and so on, and then drive off. So they're not actually experiencing it. Whereas if you've got a photo somewhere years ago, a photo would mean you are there, you're in a place for some time, you've experienced it. And everything about it, so you can say what it was like. But quite often now, if somebody visits somewhere really nice, it might be a quick photo or some content creation, and then they're off again. So in a way, that's fake as well, isn't it? And I mean, I'm actually reading a book at the moment called The Wilder Way. In fact, it's my van book, and I shall get it and show you. And, let me go out. How unprofessional, running off in the middle of my podcast. So it's this one here, The Wilder Way, and it's by Eva Zubek. And she's had a lot of flack over this. So she is in a van as well, and she's been traveling all over to look at life in different places. She spent lockdown somewhere, which she got absolutely slated for, because people were saying that she doesn't stay long enough in one place to experience it, and that some of her content was set up for fakery. They even said that she took some photos in a desert, and that actually where she was very close to civilization. It was merely just for she'd gone somewhere where you couldn't actually see anything else, and pretended that it was in the middle of a desert. However, surely her experiences are valid all the same. Now, I'm reading the book, and I'm looking at it I'm trying to look at it objectively, and I think her experiences are valid. I think that she has experienced a lot of things. Of course, she may be embellishing it, but who doesn't write a story and embellish it? If you're going to be a writer, if you're going to write a book, it's probably not that interesting if you stick entirely to exactly what happened. And we all know that there are people, adventure sort of presenters, if you like, on the TV that portray their adventures every week as if it's life-threatening and very dangerous. There are certain ones that do it all the time, which I'm absolutely not going to name. But it's to get us interested, it's to get us looking and to feel the sort of the tension there as well. So how does fake make that worse? I don't know. What do you think about fakery? Do you feel less confident in yourself if you see a photo where your friends or people that you would admire or respect you think they look better than you because perhaps their profiles or their pictures have been airbrushed and edited? You know, and lots of us do edit photos and so on. I mean, you're looking at me now with obviously not edited because I look a mess, but there's no ring light. I've got no makeup left. It's hot. I'm bothered. I'm in my van. It's natural light. It's not great light. I don't really care, but I can understand how it's difficult sometimes when you look at other people and you think, well, they look so much better than me. And then you've got the whole issue then of the fakery with how we present ourselves. So you have the pressure to go and change yourself, the anti-aging pressure. So on people who are middle-aged, you've got the anti-aging pressure, such as having your fillers, Botox, having even down to nails, lashes, eyebrows, dyeing hair. You've got all that kind of thing, which is fake. Let's be honest, it's fake. Should we feel shamed by doing that? Absolutely not, in my view. Do what you want, and if you feel more confident in doing anything, then if you use some fakery, who cares? That's absolutely fine. I mean, makeup has been around for forever, and that's fake in a way, isn't it? But I do feel that there's pressure, firstly you've got the middle-aged people who are now almost pressured into trying to look younger, as if that matters. From what I see, people very rarely look younger from having procedures. They might look good, but they perhaps won't look younger. And why not celebrate your experience and your wisdom from being older? But I'm also seeing a lot of pressure on young people, pressure on youngsters to grow up quickly. I think some of that comes from social media, from fake expectations. You see the access they have to adult material in many different forms, and how they feel that's the natural world, whereas it's not. It's fake. It's set up for content, for views and clicks and so on. And you also have the pressure to look a certain way. So you have, young lads now are also expected to look a certain way. You've got people having not just facial fillers and so on. You've got people having muscles put in, via filler. You've got the turkey teeth phenomenon at the moment. You've got hair extensions. It's all fake. Does it matter? So that's an interesting one. I don't think it matters, but I do think that people are unfairly pressurized to look a certain way. And it can take quite a lot of confidence sometimes to feel good the way you are, and not that you're not good enough because you look at other people who you feel are better. So fakery is an interesting one, isn't it? So moving on from that, because I can talk about fakery this and fakery that forever, let's look at Mynyddyslwyn. Now I'm going to show you just a little clip of where I went. Mynyddyslwyn Mountain near Blackwood in the Sahawi Valley has a lot of history. You have the Tudor tomb, as we call it, or burial tomb, where it could have been St Tudor's burial mound, and you have the very old Tudor church, Mynyddyslwyn Church, which has been, in the last, I don't know how many years, been restored back to its original colours. And I went along that mountain to Puzzle Tree Alpacas, where I did some stretching with alpacas, which was a really lovely session. The weather was stunning, and Sam, who runs it, was great. We did some stretching, we had a cup of tea afterwards. So there's a little video of that as well, and Sam is explaining what she's doing. What's interesting is that there is another, there's teacoppy alpacas as well, so I want to give a shout out to everyone and be neutral. And they do yoga with alpacas, so I haven't tried that yet, but that might be on the cards at some point. But how lovely to get outside and do something physical within the presence of beautiful creatures who are just roaming around naturally. It all seems very, very well done. They looked after. The views are amazing. And of course, it's great to be out in the fresh air. And as somebody myself who practices Veda or Celtic yoga, which is all about movement in outside and in nature, it's something that I enjoy very much. And yet again, I've been asked to do more about Veda, which will be coming up on one of the pods. But it's more about movement, getting out, enjoying nature, and so on. If anyone would like to come and be interviewed about how you feel about being in nature, maybe you practice forest therapy, or you love to exercise outdoors in some way, or you're into camping, sort of like myself, then please get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. And I don't have my number above me now because I'm not in my office, but off the top of my head, the number is 074 970 79907. And that's the Sahawi Sessions dedicated number. So without further ado, let's look at what happened in Mynyddyslwyn. On my way to do some stretching with alpacas. So here we are, some glorious views over the mountain, over Twennesthee. The alpacas were so friendly, they didn't want to come too close. So they let us get on with what we were doing. Had a little wander around as we were stretching. And they were really friendly. We had a cuppa and a cake afterwards, which was really nice. And went over and said hello to some of them, but they were quite nervous. It was a nice atmosphere, and the stretching was useful as well. And I spoke to Sam, who's running it. So let's listen to what Sam has to say.
Yeah, so obviously the plan eventually then is to be able to bring children up and involved with the classes, and it'll be the similar sort of thing. We're going to do the stretch class, we're going to do the exercise classes, the alpacas will be around, there'll be refreshments offered as well, so we can get family involved. So as well as the classes being for adults on their own where they can have time out, it will be a case of, right, let's get the family involved as well, and let's see what we can add to it. So that's the plan. That's what I'm hoping to do. Okay. And obviously those people then that have shown interest, I'll be reaching out to people. I was going to ask you, my little girl's sick. And do you think it'd be something she wanted to come with me? She wanted to stay in the car and watch the alpaca. She could have come up. And I was like, well, I didn't bring her because I didn't know. But she was like, Mum, will you ask them, can I come and have a look? And I was like, I'll see if they do walking. They do walks. They do walks and they do, you actually take the alpacas up. She would love that. You cover the ground of the whole farm. They lead them on the lead rein themselves. So it's not somebody else leading them and they stand by the side of them. You have the children holding the lead rein. They'll walk up. My sister will talk you through everything about it. And then again, it's refreshments as well. So they do that here as well. I'll message you about that. And if there's any other questions you've got, please feel free. If somebody asks you something, you're like, well, actually, I'm not sure. Just drop me a message and we can sort something out. And I'll message you about the Sunday dates. Yes, whatever dates you've got available, and I can book you in. Thank you so much. All right, it was lovely to meet you.
And can I just ask you to confirm, so Where is it and what is it that's going on?
So we are in Mynyddyslwyn. It's on the mountain and the views, as you can see, are absolutely amazing. Mynyddyslwyn is above Blackwood. So if you're central and you know of the Blackwood area, it's quite easy to find. So today we carried out a stretch and a mobility and a relaxation class. It's just basically about you relaxing, movement, but slow, steady movement, and it's time out for you. Just relax, zone out, to switch off from your hectic lifestyle and in the comfort of a farm where you have alpacas.
Fantastic. And it was really good too.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed that for this week. On the next pod, we'll have completely different things to talk about again. If you would like to be interviewed, if you have a funny story, if you've got an experience that you've had, something to do with your well-being, you've overcome something, or you'd like to give a shout out to any sort of local activities, events, clubs, places to walk, places to eat and so on, please get in touch. 074 970 79907. You can WhatsApp, you can text, and I will pick it up at some point and get back in touch with you. So please follow us, please subscribe. We're on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts and so on from. And on Facebook as Yellow Rhino as well. So for this podcast, it's over and out from the van, a very hot van actually, and see you next time. This Howie Sessions is part of the Yellow Rhino brand.